Hello, my name is Sam. Today I am going to share with you a very important topic: how to speak English without pausing too much. That's right, many English learners struggle with hesitation when speaking. They pause a lot, trying to find the right words, or they get stuck because they're thinking in their native language first, and that makes their speech sound less natural. This is I Went to London, Lesson 42. You can watch all previous videos on my channel in a playlist called I Went to London. Make sure to check those out if you haven't already. Now let's dive into today's topic. If you've ever felt frustrated because your words don't come out fast enough, or you keep stopping while talking, don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll have some powerful strategies to think faster, speak smoothly, and sound more confident in English. So why do people pause so much when speaking English? Well, there are a few common reasons. The first one is lack of confidence. Many learners hesitate because they're afraid of making mistakes. Instead of just speaking naturally, they keep second-guessing themselves. It's like their brain is saying, wait, is this the right word? Am I making a mistake? And by the time they decide, the conversation has already moved forward. Another reason is vocabulary gaps. Sometimes learners don't know the exact word they need, so they stop and try to find it. This makes their speech sound unnatural and broken. When your vocabulary is limited, your brain has to work extra hard to find words, and that creates more pauses. That's why expanding your vocabulary is so important. And let's not forget about overthinking. A lot of learners try to translate sentences from their native language into English while speaking. But English and other languages have different structures, so this slows them down and creates long pauses. And of course, nervousness plays a huge role. When people feel nervous, especially in conversations with native speakers, they freeze and forget even the words they do know. When people feel pressured, their brains don't work as fast. That's why confidence-building exercises are so important. So, if you find yourself pausing too much, you're not alone. The good news is there are ways to fix this. One of the best techniques to reduce pauses is to think in English instead of translating. Many learners translate sentences in their heads before speaking, and that slows them down. Instead, try to think directly in English. A great way to practice thinking in English is to describe what you see around you in simple English. For example, if you're walking outside, you can think, the sun is shining, the weather is warm, I see a dog running. This trains your brain to process thoughts in English naturally. Another useful technique is using filler words. Now, I know some people think fillers are bad, but native speakers use them all the time to keep the conversation flowing. Filler words like well, you know, actually, so, and I mean give your brain a second to think without creating an awkward silence. Instead of pausing completely, you can say, well, I think it's a good idea, or, you know, I really like that movie. Another powerful technique is shadowing. This means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately, like an echo. It forces you to speak quickly and smoothly without pausing. You can do this with English podcasts, YouTube videos, or audiobooks. Just play a sentence, pause, and repeat it exactly the same way. Over time, your brain will get used to speaking without hesitation. And don't aim for perfection. Many learners pause because they're afraid of making mistakes. But in real conversations, mistakes are okay. The goal is to communicate, not to be perfect. If you can't remember a word, try explaining it in a different way instead of stopping completely. For example, if you forget the word refrigerator, you can say, "the machine that keeps food cold." Now, let's talk about training your brain to think and respond faster in English. The first step is expanding your vocabulary and sentence patterns. If you don't have enough words or common phrases in your mind, your brain will struggle to find the right words, and that causes pauses. And the best way to do this is by learning phrases instead of individual words. For example, instead of memorizing the word opinion, learn the full phrase, "in my opinion." That way, when you need to share an opinion, the phrase comes out automatically. The more you listen to English, the faster your brain will process words and sentence structures. Listen to podcasts, audiobooks, and conversations, and try to predict what the speaker will say next. And speaking of prediction, here's a fun exercise: conversation anticipation. When you're listening to someone speak, try to guess their next word or phrase before they finish their sentence. This trains your brain to think ahead and respond quickly. Another powerful technique is imitating native speakers. Find a speaker you like, maybe from a TV show or a podcast, and try to copy their way of speaking, including their speed, rhythm, and pronunciation. The more you expose yourself to natural English speech, the faster your brain will process and produce English. Now, let's talk about some practical exercises that will help you speak fluently. One of my favorites is the 1-minute speaking challenge. This is a simple but powerful exercise. Pick a topic and speak about it for 1 full minute without stopping. Even if you make mistakes, keep going. You can start with easy topics like my daily routine or my favorite food. If 1 minute is too hard, start with 30 seconds and slowly increase your time. Another great exercise is story retelling. Listen to a short story, a podcast, or even a movie scene, and then try to retell it in your own words. This helps with fluency and vocabulary recall. It forces you to think in English and form complete sentences. Speed conversation practice is another great exercise. Set a timer for 2 minutes and have a fast conversation with a friend, or even talk to yourself in the mirror. The goal is to respond quickly without overthinking. And for those who don't have a speaking partner, you can practice with speech-to-text apps. Just speak into your phone and see how much of it gets transcribed correctly. That's a great way to check pronunciation and fluency. Finally, let's talk about mindset. Mistakes are part of learning. Many people pause because they're afraid of saying something wrong, but mistakes help you improve. And even native speakers make mistakes. Instead of thinking, "What if I make a mistake?" try thinking, "Every mistake helps me learn." The key is to keep going, even if your sentence isn't perfect. Focus on communication, not perfection. The goal of speaking is to express ideas, not to sound like a textbook. If people understand you, you're already successful. Speak with confidence, even if you're not 100% sure. If you hesitate or doubt yourself, people will notice. But if you speak with energy and a smile, people will focus on what you're saying, not your small mistakes. So, here's your challenge. Pick one technique or exercise from today and practice it this week. The more you practice, the more fluent you'll become. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips on speaking English fluently. Leave a comment below and tell me, what's your biggest challenge when speaking English? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.